In the dimly lit hallways of Earth's early past, a huge creature stepped out, creating a shadow so big that it dwarfed all the non-sauropod dinosaurs that had ever walked the land. Think of a huge animal called Paleoloxodon paticus. It was a living monster that broke the limits of size and rethought what it means to be gigantic. In comparison to these other dinosaurs, Paleoloxodon paticus stood out as a real giant, being taller than them and making the name for itself in the ancient world. The enormous size of this creature gives us a new view of the variety of life at that time, and it makes us think about how far evolution could push the limits of form and function. Paleoloxodon paticus's huge tusks were without a doubt one of the most amazing things about it. These huge, long structures made of ivory were not just decorations. They were very important to the creature's life and relationships. The enormous tusks were powerful tools that it used to change its surroundings and its interactions with other animals. Figuring out what these tusks were used for gives us important information about how they evolved to do well in a world where adaptability and strength are important for life. However, these tusks are important for more than just their practical use. They are a unique feature that helped the animal dominate its environment. Paleoloxodon paticus's huge tusks were an important part of its identity and drastically changed the way things worked in the world it lived in, whether it was fighting for territory, mating, or getting resources. The huge animal, which was bigger than any non-sauropod dinosaur, had to deal with many problems on its way to survival. At that time, environments were always changing, and there was a lot of struggle for supplies, and the fear of being eaten was always there. The physiology of Paleoloxodon paticus was very interesting, and it helped it do well in its surroundings. The creature's huge size, which made it taller than its peers, naturally kept possible enemies away, making it a top omnivore. Its famous tusks, which looked like tall sentinels, were not just symbols of power. They were also useful for many things, from hunting to defense. The chances of their lives were even better because it changed the way it behaved. Its social systems and relationships with other animals of the same kind helped it deal with the difficulties of its surroundings. The huge animal probably worked together to stay alive by doing things like group hunting and making defenses together, which increased its chances of surviving against strong enemies. Paleoloxodon paticus was strong because it could change its eating habits and take advantage of different natural niches. The animal could live in a variety of environments because it could eat both meat and plants. This showed that it was adaptable, which is important for life in environments that are always changing. These old artifacts, which have been kept in rock and soil, are the key to learning about Paleoloxodon paticus's structure, physiology, and how it has changed over time. Paleontologists carefully take apart these remains, looking at bones, teeth, and even trace elements to try to piece together the complicated story of this huge animal's past. But beyond the fossils, there is a second part of the puzzle that begs to be explored: how Paleoloxodon paticus lived and what it did for fun. How did this enormous animal get around? What did it like to eat, and how did it communicate with other animals in its environment? These questions keep coming back to mind like shadows in the halls of time. This is what drives scientists to look into the rocks and study the small marks that this huge monster made. Researchers are looking closely at the fossil layers, coprolites, and plants and animals that live nearby in order to figure out behavior puzzles that have been puzzling people for thousands of years. As a result of this effort, scientists have to figure out not only the physical measurements of Paleoloxodon paticus, but also the mental parts of its life. There is still a lot of mystery surrounding this prehistoric giant's way of life and habits. This leads to theories and hypotheses as researchers try to piece together the puzzle of its ancient story. The fossilized remains of Paleoloxodon paticus have not only helped us learn more about the species, but they have also been very important in putting together the complex web of Earth's past ecosystems. Scientists can figure out how this huge animal and others of its time lived in the same environment by looking at where they lived. Paleoloxodon paticus is an herbivore, which makes people curious about what it eats, how it affects plants, and how it might interact with predatory species. These new discoveries help us understand the complex web of life that existed when they walked the Earth. They also shed light on the delicate balance that shaped ancient landscapes. Thank you for joining us on this expedition through the colossal legacy of Paleoloxodon paticus. Like, share, and comment below to let us know your thoughts and perhaps suggest the next prehistoric marvel you'd like us to explore.